And we're back. It's Venomisto with another shuffle drum programming tutorial for LOUDVERSE. So we're about to get into it today. I'm going to show you how to do a halftime shuffle groove with first and verse hats using Superior Drummer 3. Let's get on into it. Let's take a listen to what this is going to sound like when we're done. Cool, so what this is a standard halftime shuffle groove that I've done what's called a first inversion on the hi-hats to switch things up a little bit. So let's pick up right where we started last week, right where we left off last week doing a shuffle beat. So this was the shuffle that we programmed last week. Very straightforward shuffle where it's a backbeat. We're putting the kick mainly on the 1 and we're putting the snare mainly on the 3. Then we've got dotted eighth notes on the hi-hat. So the first and the third of every triplet stanza. And then we have the snare playing a ghost note on the second triplet eighth note. And I'll put a link in the video so you can see how we did that most basic shuffle, halftime shuffle. But let's take a listen to that. So. Okay, we're missing one hit. So the main foundation of what we're going to be doing today is taking this pattern where every 3, the grid is set to triplet eighth notes. So in Superior Drummer 3, in the grid editor, it's set to 1/8 T, which means triplet eighth notes. So for every quarter note, instead of there being 2 notes, as in standard eighth notes, there's 3 for triplet eighth notes. So it's 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3. So what we did is we put a hard emphasized hi-hat hit on the first triplet eighth note. We put a ghost snare on the second triplet eighth note, and then we put a lighter hi-hat on the third triplet eighth note. So we got a boom. So let's go ahead and take a listen to what this sounds like. If we add back in the snare on the 3, so what I mean by first inversion is that we're going to kind of flip this idea on its head. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out all the snare and hi-hat, all the snare ghost notes, and all the hi-hat notes in general. Let's click over to here. And instead of going hat, snare, hat, we're going to go hat, hat, snare. So again, instead of what we were doing before, which was hat, snare, hat, 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 we're going to go hat, hat, snare. Let's flip it. Hat, hat, snare. So let's go ahead and think about how we want to run the articulations, or rather the velocity here. We want it to be, we want the first hit, the first triplet eighth note to be pretty hard, the next one to be pretty soft, then this to be a ghost note. So instead of playing it on the center, I'm going to play it on the mid center here. Let's get this first one a little bit louder. Cool. So now I'm going to go ahead and select these, and then I like to do the alt drag. So I'm going to alt drag to the next quarter note and build this. So again, we're going hat, hat, snare, hat, hat, snare, hat, hat, snare. You never hear this. This is at least I never hear this. This is a really unique beat. So I think this is going to be something cool if you're ever looking to do a halftime shuffle. You've got an opportunity to do something really cool here that's unique sounding. And then instead of going the on the hat, you go like this. Let's add that snare back in. On the 3. Yeah. And the kick. So if I wanted to, in some ways, I could go ahead and just select all this, rotate it one. Well, actually, hold on a second. So let's go ahead and remove this note. I could select all these hits, so all the hi-hat hits and all the ghost notes, and then just add in one more at the end here. And aside from how we're emphasizing these hi-hat hits, that's the inversion. So we just slide it over one. So I'll go back to what we had before. So let's mix things up a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at this over here, which is the beat that I programmed, and let's see what I did that actually spiced things up even a little bit more. So I can zoom out. I'm on a magic mouse, but you can use the scroll wheel, and you hold down the Alt key on Mac, and I believe the Windows key, the Option key on Windows. So now I'm hitting the scroll wheel up, holding Alt, so I'm in a nice zoom here. So let's go ahead and listen to this. That's the same. Okay, so what did I do over here? Let's go ahead and take this part out, and then we'll reverse engineer it. So let's start on the 5. So let's remove these notes, and then I'm going to program them back in on the kick. You can see this is a cool way of doing this. So on a shuffle, typically you're going to have a beat that is the first and third on the triplet eighth note. So 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. So let's program that on the drum, on the kick for a little bit. 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, and then just a 3 there. Okay? Let's go ahead and select those, and then I'm going to make the 1 hit on the kick. See how we're making this one, and this one a little bit harder down here. So let's raise that. That one can be nice and soft. Let's hear this now. So what I'm doing is, because I'm playing the hi-hat on the first and second, and I'm playing the kick on the 3 and 1, it gives it a nice little syncopated feel, like. And then the last part that I did is just on the snare here, I just put in 4 notes right at the end. So dun, 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 and then I changed the velocity of the second and fourth ones. So hey, that's how to program a halftime shuffle groove using Superior Drummer 3 with first and verse hats, which is a concept that is really cool. It's unique. It will catch the listener's ear. If you are looking to program something in swung or dotted eighth note feel with a halftime backbeat groove, you're not going to hear this very often, and I think it's a great way to get your audience really digging what you have to program. And it's more realistic sounding and everything that we like to do here on the channel. So, hey, if you enjoyed this, go ahead and hit like below to let me know. If you want to follow along, we typically post these every Saturday, new drum programming tutorials to help you folks program more realistic sounding, human sounding drum programming for your tracks. And definitely go ahead in the comment section and leave me a comment if there's something that you'd like to see me cover that we haven't so far. So until next time, hasta luego, hasta luego, a biento, das vidania, sayonara, peace.